Welcome to this segment of the Pinnacle Columbus. I am your host, AC Dunlap, and I'm so excited today and having the honor to sit down with Shaquille Alexander, City Auditor for the City of Whitehall. How are you?
I'm well, staying busy. Appreciate you.
Good. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And I know you got a lot going on, and so we're going to get started. I want to start by asking you who is Shaquille Alexander?
That's a great first question, because I'm still trying to figure that out myself. Somebody who means well, likes to learn, but also is growing into leadership. A lot of people always ask me, how old are you? How old are you? They don't realize I'm not even 30 yet. So a lot to learn, but I'm surrounded by some good people, and I'm in good hands. So young guy, surrounded by good people, likes to learn, and making the most of it.
That's good. Being so young, and that's not a negative, definitely, it's a positive piece. What has your journey been like in leadership?
Ups and downs, for sure. A lot of good, but it's not without the bad, the trials and tribulations. But I feel like those are learning moments. I really rely on those who've been there before me. I have a great mayor here in the city of Whitehall who's a mentor. I have a lot of great fraternity brothers. I think you interviewed one recently, Luke Fedlin.
Yes.
Luke's a mentor as well. So leadership is understanding how to take the good with the bad in stride, but also to lean on those who've been there before you, because you're not expected to have all the answers that you got to put on the face like you do when you're in the public sphere. So learning a lot, and it's been good. I'll say that. I grew up primarily in Whitehall, on the east side, Whitehall yearly graduate, so it's nice to be able to give back to the community that's given a lot to me. So it's a unique dynamic here.
That's good, that's good. So what inspired you to serve in this capacity?
So I had the pleasure of going to Auditor University, where I studied finance, and it was there where I met Professor Brian Day, accounting professor, and he encouraged me to not go the finance route, to go the accounting route. Ended up getting my CPA license, and spent some time in the private sector, and my previous position as a city treasurer for 4 years came open back in 2022. And mentor reached out, said, are you interested in going for the appointment? And I said, no, not interested at all, don't want to do it. And I was really focused on progressing and climbing the ladder in the private sector. He said, you should at least look into it, do your due diligence. And I did. And that mentor is very persuasive. I say that. And so a couple months later, I was in an interview with City Council, and I got the appointment unanimously. And that's a part-time role. This role is a full-time. But in that, I was able to see a little bit of how municipal finance work, what public service looks like at a grander scale. Fast forward again, another 4 years, my predecessor for this office wanted to retire. Do you want to succeed me? Was the conversation. I'm looking to go home. His wife had been retired for 4 years, and we know how some of those conversations can go. And at that point, I was kind of hesitant, because this is a full-time job. It's a lot more commitment. And I was kind of at a crossroads, and I'm still young, early in my career. What do I do? Do I go all in on the public sector? Do I go all in on the private sector, building up my own practice? Do I want to go back corporate? I really didn't know. But one thing I've always known, my heart has been called to service. And it's unique in a way that I'm able to serve, but also I'm able to use my background and my educational experience and expertise and bring it all together. So one thing I do enjoy is that I'm actually using my credentials as a CPA, using my background, having a finance degree from Auditor University, and I bring it all together right at home to help elevate Whitehall financial standing. So it's been fun. But again, I'm still trying to figure out what the bigger picture looks like longer term. So we'll see where it goes.
No, that's good. You mentioned service. So talk a little bit about what does it mean to you to serve people in multiple capacities, because I know you talked about the fraternity, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what does really service mean to you?
Leaving the place in which you serve, or the people in which you serve, better than which you found them. When I look at service, a lot of times people ask me questions. How did you do this? How did you get here? How do you know that? And again, I point to the people that helped bring me up and gave me a hand up when I needed one. And so I always try to be that guy, the guy that so many were to me, and the list is endless. Otherwise, I tell you all of them, but also try to be somebody that I still felt like I needed during that time. And a lot of the wisdom and the little nuggets that help me put things together and understand things a little bit differently, I tell myself they shouldn't stop with me. If I can tell another 15-year-old or another 12-year-old or another student that's about to graduate something that maybe I didn't know that I learned maybe in my earlier 20s or mid 20s. I think those small nuggets and those small examples and me being present in some of those rooms helps motivate and elevate them a little bit further. So leaving things and places and people better than what you found them, I think, is the best thing one can do.
That's so good. And I believe that that's important, the seeds that you plant, because something's always been planted in us. So talk about mentorship. And I heard that a little bit even through your servitude piece. What is mentorship in your life been like? And then how do you view yourself in reference to mentorship?
Yeah, one lesson I learned that was, I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of uncomfortable at the time. A lot of people think your mentors have to be older than you. And I have a mentor who's younger than me by a couple of years. And it's more of a mutual relationship. We kind of mentor each other. But it's really a unique dynamic, and I enjoy it. But one thing I learned about mentorship is that you have to be intentional about it on both sides. You can't just expect somebody to know what kind of relationship you want with them or what you need from them. You have to be vocal. You got to be your biggest advocate. But also, you have to follow up, and you have to be intentional about these things. So, and then also, everybody's not going to want to be your mentor, or they won't have the time to be your mentor, to be frank.
So let's talk about your role as a CPA. Because it's many times in school, I know math is not necessarily the favorite subject. So people are like, oh, I like English. I don't like math.
Yeah.
So what kind of drew you to that? And what is that process of becoming a CPA?
Yeah, so I'll go way, way back when I was this big. I was always a curious kid asking the question, well, why is this that way? Reading the signs as we drive and walk down the street, just trying to understand the world and what makes it what. So very curious, but also very analytical, very logically minded, understanding the building blocks. And math can be complex, but I think math's a universal language. Is in numbers, anybody can understand them, different levels and complexities, sure, but anybody can speak in that language, whether it's 2 + 2 or some crazy formula or some crazy accounting rule, right? And so growing up, social studies was actually my favorite. Big history nerd to this day. Watch a lot of documentaries. I was in 5th grade watching History Channel till 2 a.m.
Wow,
That's the kind of kid I was growing up. But as I got older, I thought maybe I wanted to be a historian, more into the social sciences kind of world. But unfortunately, it doesn't pay too well. And I grew up very socioeconomically disadvantaged. So I was trying to figure out something where I can live a little bit more comfortably. So started off actually as a marketing major, but again, that analytical, more logical mind, marketing felt too abstract. Didn't feel like I could touch it, it didn't feel real. And changed my major once I transferred from University of Findlay to Otterbein from marketing to finance. And that's when things started to click. We have formulas, we have rules, we have laws, and things that I can relate to in the real world that I can see, that I can touch. And that's when things started making sense. But I took some accounting electives, and one of those professors, I mentioned him earlier, was Professor Brian Day. I always sat in the front. It was 8 a.m.s, back-to-back semesters, intermediate accounting 1, intermediate accounting 2. And a couple times I was late driving. I was a commuter, so I commuted from Whitehall up 270 to Westerville every day. And sometimes that 270 traffic, you just can't beat it. And so I always would text my teammate at the time saying, hey, tell Professor Day I'm going to be late, or tell Professor Day this. But I always sat in the front, always came prepared. And I think he really enjoyed the fact I coached football 1 year in 2017. So we talked about that. But Professor Day, I think he's one of those mentors that I talked about, because anytime a visitor from a corporation like Nationwide, Cardinal Health, they would come in, he would make sure I was part of the students that he would introduce personally after class. And one day, I forget what it was, maybe I just walked into his office to ask questions about something, and he was not my advisor, but on paper, but he served in that capacity in practice. And so I forget what the question was or what sparked the conversation, but he said, you should go look into becoming a CPA. And I was like, well, what is that? Again, you just don't grow up knowing these things the way I did. And so I asked him about what it is, what the requirements are. Then I'm hearing you got to have 150 credit hours worth of courses. And within that 150 credit hours, you have to have X amount of accounting hours, these specific classes, this many business credits. So most people go pursue master's degrees to be eligible to even take the exam. I did not do that. I just went to Columbus State and got the extra credits during the summer and after I graduated. And so once you have the credits and you have the prereqs, you have to apply to the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy, NASBA. I got that right. Not often you get that right the first time. And from there, you have to schedule each exam independently. So it's 4 different exams, 4 hours each. The model's recently changed. slightly, to where that fourth exam you can choose, I believe, from 3 different types rather. But when I took it, it was auditing and attestation, business environments and concepts, financial accounting and reporting, and regulation. You have to pass all of them within an 18-month window. Otherwise, the one that's the earliest credit, it drops off. You got to retake it. So very rigorous credentials and work just to be eligible to take the exam. But then also taking the exam is a different beast entirely because the time constraints, the content, but also you have to have a 75 to pass. And that's not 75%. It's a weighted score. So each question is worth different amount of weight, amount of points. And then if you do well in the first section, the second section gets harder. And so the multiple choice and the format of each exam is different. The skills that are tested are different. And there's 2 multiple choice sections on each exam. Then there's 3 simulation sections. The one section of simulations is a test question. You don't even know if it counts or not. So it's a very rigorous exam. I was fortunate enough to pass all 4 on the first attempt.
Congratulations.
Little self-promotion, but my average score was a 91. So I kind of overstudied a little bit.
Okay.
But I remember leaving out financial accounting and regulation, and financial accounting and reporting. And I had 3 minutes left. I finished all the other exams maybe with 20, 45 minutes left. And I felt decent going out of the other ones. But when I left FAR, financial accounting and reporting, I didn't know how I felt. I just felt drained. I felt like I had just been through the gauntlet. I didn't know what was going on. And honestly, I thought I might have failed. And that was the exam I took 3rd on the order. And I got my score back maybe 3 weeks later, and I actually passed with an 88.
Wow.
So felt good, felt great, because that's the one in CPA land, we know that to be the beast. It's the monster, hardest one to pass. And once you pass them, you have to have 1 year of a service. Generally, sometimes you need 2 of working under a CPA to actually apply for your license. But I had that already because I had worked for a year at KPMG. So long process, long road, but having that professor put me on that pathway and then actually getting that credential and having the experience, I think it's opened up a lot of doors, including this one here.
That's good. So you've done a lot even to get where you are. How has the way you work and the lens you look from help you to better serve the people of Whitehall?
Well, I grew up in Whitehall, so that's part one. You know, I am part of the people I serve, and I hope they understand that first and foremost. But also, you know, it's all about the people. My job is to be a steward of assets, protect the financial integrity of the city, but also I understand that it's not about me. This is my office, but I don't own it. It's not my office, right? I get paid a decent salary, but all the money I manage and the people out there in my staff that I'm responsible for, I have to lead. And I have to lead with conviction. I have to lead with integrity. And the day-to-day management in itself is just, you never know what you're going to get, right? You could have union dispute, payroll issues. You could have revenue shortfalls. We had some of those issues in 2023 when I served as treasurer. So it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Things that happen are unexpected. I could have a very boring day. I could have a very chaotic day, right? But I have to be a great partner with the executive, the mayor, and making sure that he understands the budget, what we can do, what we cannot do, economic development, making sure they're understanding, you know, if we offer this tax incentive, how does that impact us in the long run? Sure, it'll bring the business here, sure, it'll bring jobs, but what's that short-term impact or even the longer-term impact on the financials? So it's very different from being in the private sector and looking at things from a little bit of a different lens. But I think leading with that integrity, that conviction, and being people-minded first, and thinking beyond, you know, what can I do for a political win? What can I do to help benefit me in the short run? And thinking with that long-term time horizon, I think that keeps me grounded and also just helps me understand the lay of the land a little bit better.
That's good. So you're definitely a voice for the people.
I try to be.
Even internally. So let me ask you, especially with the city of Whitehall, there are a lot of historic things that have happened over this last year. And you are a part of history, especially even in this community. Do you consider yourself a history maker? And if so, what are you trying to do for not just the city of Whitehall, because what affects here affects us as a whole in Columbus. And so what do you think your role is in being a history maker?
Do I consider myself a history maker, and what I think my role is in being a history maker? I mean, sure, on paper, I guess I made history, but I think it feels kind of weird to say that out loud because I'm still like, I'm living it just day to day, one day at a time, one moment at a time. How does it feel? To be honest, some days not so good. When you grow up the way I did and you go without a lot, some days where I'm just kind of comfortable and I'm just, in a different space. I don't know what to make of that. When I think about just my family and the two brothers I have that I don't really have relationships with, for various reasons I don't care to go into, but just knowing that their story is a lot different than mine, sometimes that makes me uncomfortable. It's a different experience being as young as I am to be in some of the spaces I've been fortunate to be into. A lot of my mentors and benefactors have been intentional about introducing me to people and introducing me to rooms, and a lot of my own work has been instrumental in that as well. But it's still kind of, it plays with your mental a little bit, and it's challenging sometimes. So don't get me wrong, I live a great life, and I'm very grateful to be here and have the things I do have. And I'd much rather be in this space than some other spaces I could have been in. But to be honest and to be vulnerable, some days, it's just surreal and not surreal in a good way. So what role do I think I make in that or playing as a history maker? I don't know. Time will tell. Yeah. I feel like it would be improper of me, let other people tell that story.
Well, thank you, number one, for being vulnerable and sharing that part. And you definitely are a history maker.
Thank you.
even if it's history in progress, I think sometimes we focus a lot on history of the past, but then there's also the real time piece. And so definitely thankful for all that you're doing.
Thank you.
Talk about a typical day. You talked a little bit about it, but what is a typical day in the life of Shaquille Alexander?
I like that, history in progress. I like that because everyday history is made, but I still don't like thinking about the idea of me making history because I think the focus is on the wrong thing. But to your next question, a day in the life. So I wake up about 5:15, 5:20, Monday through Friday, and I go to the gym, work out with my guy Dante over in Grandview, and we get to it. Today was more of a circuit, full body day, but Tuesday is my favorite on leg day. So I work out, on my way home, stop at Uppercut Coffee on Parsons, grab some coffee.
Shout out.
Sometimes, shameless plug. Most of the time it's cortado with oat milks. Other days it's cafe au lait with oat milk.
Okay.
And I go home, shower, take a look at the calendar, the agenda, check my emails. I'm usually in the office around 9 o'clock, 9:30. Again, when you get to the office, you never know what you're going to get. So I could have a director's meeting with all the directors of the city like we did today, police chief, fire chief, HR, the mayor, and whatever the agenda is, a strategy session, or are we solving problems, or are we planning for an event? I know State of the City's coming up. Could have a staff meeting here or an issue that we need to resolve. We've been doing interviews for additions to the team. So just whatever the day brings. I usually try to leave around 4:30, 5 o'clock. I don't like to stay too late. Unless we have a council meeting, and then those start at 7. Our last one, I was there till 10 p.m.
Oh, wow.
So they can go late sometimes. They can go late. But then, I like to run. So sometimes I'll get a run in the evening if we didn't get one in the morning during our workout. I like to read a lot of nonfiction. So I'll pull out a book or try to find something on Amazon to add to the bookshelf. A lot of my books are decorative. I haven't read them yet, but soon to come. But also I like to do a lot of podcasts, a lot of history, geopolitics, financial markets, economics, those kind of things. So then I'm a big foodie. So if I get invited out to eat, I'll spend good money on some good food. And most importantly, though, I think it's incumbent upon myself to make sure I'm making time for family. My grandma, she's 78, just turned 78 in December. So I love spending time with her. My sister Shantae, we go visit as often as we can. And, that's pretty much how we get it in. The days ebb and flow. But, I kind of relish in the chaos of the unknown of what the day will bring. But as long as I get my workout in the morning, I know we're good.
That's good. That's good. Share with us what keeps you grounded, because that's a lot that can go on even with the unknown. What keeps you grounded?
You got to work out in the morning. You got to get active. Otherwise, the whole day is thrown off. You don't even feel right. What keeps me grounded? Having small incremental goals, and whether it's related to work, fitness. I recently ran my first half marathon, so I'm going to do one every year and try to get better. And I got Dante. We bounce a lot of ideas off each other in the morning, whether it be about work, personal life, goals. He's in grad school, so we talk a lot about that. And just having that sounding board and somebody that kind of is going through some similar experiences in life as you. But really just spending time with my friends. A lot of my friends I have that are close I've had since elementary and middle school. So they've known me through the not so good and the kind of the come up and still even some of the personal things I deal with behind the scenes. Just having those that know Shaq, not Shaquille, just Shaq. That's really, priceless and valuable. And then also my uncle who raised me, probably the most important person. I didn't ever meet my biological father, but my uncle stepped in. My mom wasn't really present, and we don't have much of a relationship, but my uncle raised me. My grandma raised my siblings. So my uncles, that's like my dad, my grandma was like my mom. And, just making sure that I'm still on a path that they can be proud of and making sure that they're a part of my successes and my journey and that I speak power to them and their sacrifices because my grandma raised all 5 of my siblings and 2 of my cousins. So raising 7 kids that are your grandchildren, no small feat, and raised me part-time. So love them. They're my superheroes. And just remembering their sacrifices let me know that, what I'm going through is probably nothing compared to what they went through.
Well, it sounds like you come from a strong lineage, so you can't help but to be strong.
Thank you.
So a little bit more as we're winding down. So you're in a fraternity.
Yes, the best, the best.
So talk to me about brotherhood, and even how that has impacted where you are today.
Yeah, so the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha, they're the best of the best, cream of the crop. When I talk about the mentors, when I talk about the benefactors, put me in rooms, making introductions, supporting the campaign. 9 times out of 10, I'm talking about the brothers Alpha.
Okay.
Growing up, I didn't have a lot of college-educated family, so I didn't really know much about Black Greek life outside of Stomp the Yard.
Right.
I saw it at the drive-in on the South Side back when I was in 5th grade. And so what I'm learning about this stuff once I got to Outer Banks University, I'm like, well, what's this? What's the D9? And why are these dudes always barking? And who these dudes talking about, yo, baby, yo? I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And the more I learned, okay, maybe, that could be a pathway for me. And I went to the Alpha Informational, and that's all she wrote.
Okay.
So my best friend from 4th grade and now somebody I consider a brother, Deshaun Jefferson, is my line brother. So unique experience of going into Alpha with somebody I've known essentially my whole life and my whole adult life. And Alpha, nothing can make us closer, but Alpha, deepen the bond in a different kind of way. But having that experience and being forced into different leadership roles and meeting brothers from throughout the region and throughout the country and just knowing the history of Alpha, as we get ready to celebrate the end of Black History Month, knowing brothers like Thurgood Marshall, MLK, Stuart Scott, the list goes on and on. We like to say Alpha history is Black history, just because there are so many brothers that were instrumental in that. Founded in 1906, Ithaca, New York, Cornell University. Just speaking about it gives me chills because I've had numerous experiences with the brotherhood, traveling my first time out of the country to Canada, Toronto, for our regional convention where I won Brother of the Year, College Brother of the Year back in 2019. Very, very heartfelt experience, and just seeing the alumni chapter support me the way they have. So I'm an old head at heart. You can probably get those vibes. And I'll be 30 in a couple weeks, but I feel like I'm 42. I was a college brother, but I probably spent more time with the alumni chapter, just hanging out with the OGs, and that's where I'm comfortable. And I think my grandma and my uncle raising me have a little bit of a role in that. Hanging out with grandma, listening to the oldies in the minivan on the weekend. And so just having those guys, because growing up, you don't, at least the way I did, you don't really see a lot of college-educated Black men or Black men in general in their 30s and 40s and 50s. I just didn't see it. And especially that pedigree of Black men, college educated, the doctors, the lawyers, the seasoned professionals, the accountants, the CPAs. It was different, and it was eye-opening, and it let me know, whatever I want to do, that can be me too, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the brothers were not shy about giving me access and resources, but then also just being friends.
Yeah.
One of my favorite brothers, Alpha John Gore, that's Unc. Call him Unc, that's family. And, just those experiences have been life-changing to me. A lot of who I am, a lot of my development, a lot of my experiences and the opportunities will not be here if not for Alpha.
Wow. That's great. So as we are winding down, what advice would you give to other young men who are either just aspiring on to pursue whatever their passion is or even whatever their life purpose is? What advice would you give to them?
What advice would I give to young men? You'll be okay. It can get overwhelming. You'll be okay. There's been times where I just didn't know what the hell was going on. What was I doing? Being hard on myself, made a mistake, made a misstep. So the first thing is you'll be okay. A lot of moments you'll feel like the walls are closing in, like you can't breathe, like you're drowning. But, take those moments, feel how you feel, process it, but learn from them, right? That's the first part. Secondly, people don't know what you need unless you ask for it. The worst thing they can do is say no. Never be afraid to advocate for yourself. Never be afraid to ask for anything. People want to help you more than you know. I'm not here by myself. Sure, I worked hard. Sure, I did what I had to do. Sure, I got the grades. But what does that mean if you can't put it into motion? Right? So you'll be okay. Take a deep breath. Be your biggest advocate. But also remember where you came from and who helped you get to where you're at and where you want to go. You cannot forget that. It's the most important because that will keep you grounded. It'll give you something to lean on when things are changing and you don't really know what to make of some things. When you think, what does this really mean? What does this mean? And I think that process and that line of thought helped keep me in line and where I wanted to go.
So you shared a little bit with us about your growing up. Talk to us. So what advice would you give to maybe some other young people who may share similar circumstances in growing up, how they can either overcome it or even aspire to be successful when challenges look like I can't?
Yeah. So just to add some more context, my uncle raised me. Siblings all my grandma. Uncle had 2 stepkids and 2 daughters of his own. So it was 5 of us at one point with my uncle and his wife, my aunt. And I grew up a very angry child. There are reasons for that. And my uncle's form of discipline was very firm, very old school.
Yeah.
So I got very familiar with his belt. I'll just say that. But I think a lot of that firmness and that toughness, I don't endorse it, but definitely I credit some of that to why my testimony is a lot different than my brother's. I'll just say that. But also, I grew up very angry because we went without a lot. I missed meals. I wore dirty clothes to school, and you know how harsh kids can be, especially coming up in our community. So it was tough in that way. And I always ask myself, why do I have to experience this? But less about the pity, more so, okay, now what do I want to do about it? And first was finding my outlet. And a lot of that was sports. I tried out for football. Maybe this was 4th grade, 5th grade. First time I tried out for football, I got cut. Wow. And I was young, so it really didn't impact me none. But now looking back on it, it's crazy going from getting cut to being an all-state player at Whitehall High School. Wow. And so sports was kind of my outlet, not just for the brutality of football, but also the camaraderie, being around like-minded individuals, chasing that similar goal. But then also one thing I had to do was learn how to be coachable and learn how to relate and accept authority. That took a longer time. And I finally got it through my head about my junior year of high school. And that changed the game for me because a lot of that translates to the real world. So I think first is finding that outlet that's positive. It could be sports, it could be running, it could be movies, it could be books. I read a lot growing up, big Harry Potter fan, just escape and just be one with your imagination and the words on the page. But then also lean into people. I think my outlet were the teachers. My former principal at Beechwood Elementary in Whitehall, yearly, God rest his soul, Brian Hamler, he ended up becoming the superintendent while I was in high school. And him and I, we were like family. Call him Uncle B. And just having people like that will go to bat for you, but then also advise you and tell you when you're misstepping and won't be just a yes person. Leaning into those people will help you figure some things out. And just always ask yourself, what route do I want to take? What do I not like about maybe some of the situations I was born into that were out of my control? But what do I have control over now, and how do I get there? That was the questions I always asked myself, and I think I've checked a lot of those off the list.
Nice. That's really good advice. So when you look at the CPA field, a lot of times that is not a field that is dominated by women, by minorities. And so how can that, I guess, field become more appealing to maybe a diversity of genders?
Yeah, so even more broadly speaking, there's an accounting shortage. So not just the minorities, not just the gender deficit, but also just at large. There's not enough CPAs, not enough accountants, and that's going to be a problem. I don't think that there should be a reduction in the barriers to entry at all. You don't make it easy because that way you run into professional standards issues and things like that. You want to have the best. But I know one thing that was changed is that I think in different states there are different rules. But for Ohio, you could not sit for the exam until you had the 150 credit hours. I think that was recently changed because some states already have the rule to where you can sit for the exam with 120 because most bachelor's degrees offer 120 hours. But you have to get an extra year of experience. I think I mentioned that earlier, that sometimes you have to get 2 years to actually get the license once you pass all the exams. So I think that was one way, but then also helping people understand what the field actually is and the options that career-wise it provides for you. From your first day out of college to 5, 10, 15 years down the road. A lot of people think it's just long hours for measly pay. And trust me, that first 3 years it is. It is. But once you build that knowledge base, once you learn how to lead people, once you learn how to lead projects, once you have a niche industry or a niche skill set, opportunities are endless. I went from doing corporate tax for big financial firms, insurance agencies, to running a small practice, now dealing with LLCs and S Corps and some nonprofit works, running my own business, and also doing the city auditor role here in Whitehall, being the chief financial and accounting officer for the city of Whitehall. So you can do a lot of different things. It gives you such a broad knowledge base, and you're demonstrating your skills and ability to learn. So it's not always, I'm just grinding out 60-hour weeks, or I'm always working busy season, or I'm working till 10 p.m. on a Friday. So I think changing the messaging around it and also highlighting the career opportunities it affords you will go a long way. But then also exposure. My first accounting class was my sophomore year at Whitehall Yearling High School. My football coach, my head coach, taught the class, Greg Lahr. So then it was very simple, just T accounts, balancing, what's accounts receivable, what's payables, those kinds of things. But having that exposure as a 15, 16-year-old helped me understand it a little bit better when it came time to go to college and understand, what's this business class about? What's this financial accounting or managerial accounting about? I think starting when they're young and giving, high school students internships and taking them on trips and programs and stuff like that, that'll go a long way.
Nice. Talk to us about, what do you do to relax?
I try to do some yoga. I'm not the most flexible. I started lifting weights when I was too young. So definitely paying the price for that now. But working out, running, going a quick 4-mile run, little podcast ride. That's my best practice.
Okay. So you mentioned also that you're a foodie.
Yes.
But you didn't specify what type of food. So do you have a favorite type of food?
Yes. Japanese cuisine is the best. I've had the pleasure of visiting Japan twice now. I want to go again this year, so let's make it a third time. But shameless plug, Akai Hana at Old Henderson Road in Upper Arlington. I'm there way more than I would say.
Okay, good. So what makes you laugh?
A lot. People don't really see it. They think I'm the so serious, stoic, monotone guy. But the best lesson I learned was how to laugh at myself. I don't take myself too seriously, but I'm a pretty chill guy. Okay. I can laugh at pretty much anything.
Okay. Laughter is good for the soul.
Yes, it is.
So yes, definitely. So as you're winding down, because you talked to us about a typical day, and there's a lot within your day.
Yeah.
What keeps you up at night?
Ooh, yeah, this is a tough one. I think just being a little bit more ingrained in the political sphere now, and understanding a lot of things from the historical lens. That's how I view a lot of the world, because things didn't just pop up. Like, we're still living out policy decisions and stuff that was decided on decades, if not centuries ago, playing out today. I think what bothers me the most now is just the apathy of regular people who think systems don't work for them anymore, or the people that are supposed to be serving them aren't serving them properly, and they're just all about self-interest or special interest. That bothers me personally, just because, you know, I'm still a citizen and I need other citizens to be engaged if we want to do something about it. But also, you know, I'm in the role within government, and I have a very important role of safeguarding the assets of the city. And I wish more people in the system and the people in charge didn't give them the reasons for them to feel that way, because those feelings are valid. Yeah. But it's just unfortunate that a lot of people feel like there's nothing we can do about it. And I'm still trying to figure out how to do something in my role to mitigate those feelings and that perception here in Whitehall.
That's good. And that's a good thought process as well, because not a lot of people are thinking in that vein of what you can do to basically even change the thought process of other people, and to affirm that there is hope. So definitely, thank you. What is one thing that you wish people knew about you that they don't?
What was one thing I wish people knew about me? I guess it goes back to what makes you laugh. I think a lot of people see this serious, just stern, firm guy, and like, sure, that is how it is, and I have to be that way sometimes when I'm about business. But like, I'm very chill, very laid back, very just relaxed, and I wish more people, and maybe it's my fault. Maybe I need to do more intentionality behind that, putting it out there. But I'm just a regular guy that happens to like numbers, appreciates history, and you know, I'm figuring out as I go. I think a lot of folks have the perception that I'm just, maybe this is a good thing, but just polished, got it all together, got it all figured out. But promise you, I do not, and it's all chaos in here and behind the scenes. So yeah, I wish more people understood that, but maybe it's my job to help them.
So you mentioned earlier Harry Potter. We was talking about different things, and you mentioned Harry Potter, whether it was the movies or the series. So is there a book? What's the last book that you read, or maybe even a book that's been impactful to you?
Well, the book I'm currently reading is about the duality, or rather the contrast between the lawyerly society of the United States and how everything is caught up in the legal process, and how that may have inhibited the United States' growth, versus to the engineering society of China and how they're able to build, and the different dynamics and throughout, and what the benefits of each and what also the not so great things about each. But that's very interesting, very niche for what just I enjoy. But a book that really changed my life and really read way too late was Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I had the pleasure of seeing him speak in February of 2024 at our Arlington High School, beautiful high school. Yeah, they're living good over there. But just hearing him speak and the depth and the consideration that he has for a lot of different things, and how he's able to connect the dots and really bob and weave through the noise and focus on what matters, is it's innate, and it's beautiful to watch in real time. But that book, I didn't realize the way he wrote it was in the form of a letter to his son. And him growing up in Baltimore and going to the Mecca at Howard, and just all the different things and the time in which he wrote it. It was just very powerful. I really don't have the words for it. I wish I did, but reading that book, like, I just really, it left me speechless sometimes. And when I finally finished it, I don't know, I felt like I had a weight lifted off of me, but another weight put on me, just trying to figure out and reconcile what does this mean, and the power of his words. And yeah, that book is just, I recommend it to everybody. Please read it more than once. And I've started gifting it out to people. Nice. That's how much it changed my life. So Ta-Nehisi Coates, Between the World and Me.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing. And maybe that'll kind of help give some insight as well. So thank you again for sitting down with the Pinnacle Columbus.
Thank you.
And we just look forward to what you're going to do in the future.
Me too. Let's see where it goes.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.